Good morning again, everybody. It is Friday, March 7th, 2014, and another Road to the Apocalypse. All right, so we're on deadleaguer.com. We're checking out all the goodness on their development roadmap, and we're in creatures, and we're actually almost done with creatures. We've covered quite a bit. See, last time we talked about animals and hunting and infected animals. So let's talk today a little bit about military presence and the paranormal. So, military presence. It says the military was not entirely destroyed by the infection. This feature has been designed, but is not currently in the game. Military presence will expand with development. So, this ties in a little bit when we talked about NPCs, and I did have a couple folks who also expressed a concern about having NPCs, computer controlled characters in the game. I don't know how that's going to make the immersion feel. I kind of like. I mean, it's me. It's a personal preference. Everybody's going to have an opinion on if they want those computer controlled characters or not. But I think a game like this really needs to be character driven, player character driven, not computer character driven. So to say that there's a military presence, that's fine. But at only 10%, and even with the NPCs in general just being so low in development, survivors at 10%, friendly NPCs at 10%. Generally, that just means they have the idea written down on paper, and it's not even fleshed out. Or they might have some actual fleshed out design notes that they want to do for the military, but again, there's nothing in the game for it. And currently, like the only thing that even shows there might be military presence is the fact that there's a couple pieces of hardware that look military-ish. They have that sniper rifle that looks like it could be military. There's, I think they call it the stoner machine gun. It looks like an assault rifle. So those are the only things right now that even hint at some kind of military presence. So I was trying to look at this picture. This is some artwork, it looks like. So they've got like an APC and it's shooting up a zombie. Does that mean we'll find equipment? I know vehicles. I know I've read somewhere before that they've talked about wanting to add in vehicles, and the bicycle is the first step. So, what military kind of hardware do they plan on putting in? I think I might be happy if that was the only military presence that you find. Again, I think the only thing we really need in the way of characters are the players, not NPCs. You might find a military holdout. If they do flesh out a whole system with NPCs, and then it would make sense that you could eventually come across some kind of a post, and it doesn't even have to be big. I remember when we went to Somalia when I was deployed there, the French Foreign Legion guys, they didn't really make big bases or camps or anything. I remember, and this is gonna sound super, super, super crazy, but I remember we met some, and what they said is they would put up a very minimal perimeter, like just a row of wire kind of a thing, and they didn't really put a lot of heavy security. And basically, anybody that crossed the wire that they caught, they beat the crap out of them and threw them back over the wire. And after a while, people stopped coming across the wire. And that's how I would envision this. A small military presence is going to be just a small group of military survivors who have their vehicle, the gear in the vehicle, and when they park and camp for the night, it's just a very minimalist security. So when you come across it, it's not going to be what you might expect with like a huge military base. It's going to be a few survivors, and depending on how they flesh out that NPC system, you might be able to trade. And that's why I was kind of hesitant about having NPCs, because then you're like playing just an MMO, just a regular online game. You click on the guy, it pulls up a list of stuff, and then what are they going to introduce, some kind of Zed money? It's just, I'm not too thrilled about it. So I really think that when you say military presence, I'm thinking more it should just be the gear they've left behind, clothing, the vehicles, weaponry, med kits. I, but it's only 10%. They might come out with some really cool system for NPCs that you can interact with. Maybe on a single player server again, you just put in options. Is this just going to be, that vehicle, but it just roams? So like you might not even see the military presence. So in the background of the world somewhere in that 10 kilometers they've created, there might be a military band roving out there, and they stop, set up camp. Maybe they have their own lives that run independent of you, and just you running through the world one day might come across, hey, there goes a military van. And they might not even stop to interact with you. They might not even care that you're there. Or they might stop and maybe they attack you. It could be interesting. So I'm not going to totally poo poo the idea. I'm just not real thrilled about adding in a lot of NPCs to the game. And the military presence, you don't know if they're going to be friendly, because you watch some zombie survival stuff, and a lot of times, the military, they're the ones behind it. Maybe they're the ones behind it in the dead linger, and you don't want to be caught by the military. So, but that leads us into the last one here, the paranormal. Your sanity will not survive even if you do. And that's all it says. um, yeah, normally when I think paranormal, I start to think ghosts, demons, witchcraft, is it going to become like just a big episode of the TV show Supernatural? So what exactly do they mean by the paranormal? Your sanity will not survive. 10%. So that's a big question mark. There's not even a picture for it. So still quite a bit to come out on that. So that's all I've got really to cover for the, what is this, the creatures. And that's actually a short topic. The rest of these are pretty short too. The biggest one was Survivor gameplay. These next few are pretty short, and as you can see, lowly developed as well. But that's just some thoughts that I have on it. Military presence could be good, but I think I would prefer just more so the equipment than the actual NPCs that you could run into. And paranormal, don't even have a clue what they mean by that. I just thought, well, in a way, I kind of see the paranormal in the game already, because as we go running through the world, you see zombies that are floating in the air, then they fall to the earth, and plywood that shoots up into the air. So there's already a hint of the paranormal. Ooh. So anyway, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week.